Cut.
Intentions may not be enough. I wonder if we're gonna
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Palm Sunday service. My name is Christian Wynn, and I'm one of the ministers here. I'm so happy to welcome you to our service today. We are going to start today with a very special event, I suppose you could say. You could describe it as that. I want to welcome also our friends online, and I'll come back and talk to you in just a moment. But it is the Palm Sunday processional, led by the children, and I think they are ready. Is that right? Here we go. So the band's going to... Well, that was absolutely fabulous. And because of that, we don't get to do God's Garden, but I think we should do a 1, 2, 3, have fun, kids. 1, 2, 3.
Have fun, kids!
All right. Okay, blessings to you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our friends online. Please be sure to check out your worship guide. That's also available online under the description of our service. And of course, as folks came in today, you know that those were in the back. Today is Palm Sunday, which marks basically the beginning, the entryway into Holy Week, which of course is the high period in the Christian calendar when we really do focus in on and kind of recount the events of the last days of Jesus, his trial, execution, and then his resurrection. So this is really a somber time, a time for reflection, but also a time for celebration and joy. And I'm sure many of you have made reservations for an Easter brunch for next week. I hope you have. As we start today, there is one brief announcement. I want to let you know that next week we will be starting the service a little bit closer to 9:35 as opposed to 9:40. Typically we've been kind of beginning around 9:30. Excuse me, it's after next week. Yeah, so it's post-Easter. Excuse me, thank you for that. I wanted to start today to kind of set the table. We've been in a rhythm. You're going to hear a little bit about this. Preaching through some of the practices that Christians have appropriated during the season of Lent. So we've looked at prayer, we've looked at fasting, and now we're looking at almsgiving. And as a kind of setting of the table, I want to share this quote with you from John Wesley. This is one of my favorite kind of Wesley quotes. The gospel of Christ knows of no religion but social, no holiness but social holiness. Faith working by love is the length and breadth and depth and height of Christian perfection. As we prepare today to think about almsgiving as a way that interconnects us to one another, let us keep in mind that to be someone who tries to follow after Jesus, to be a community committed to that, is to be someone who fundamentally cares about others. With that, I'll turn it over to my friends in the back.
when it rains, it pours, but you didn't even notice. It ain't raining anymore. It's hard to breathe when all you know is the struggle of staying up above the rising water line. Well, the sky is finally open, the rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. If you could see what I see, you'd be blinded by the colors, yellow, red, and orange and green, and at least a million others. Tie up the bow and take off your coat and take a look around. Well, the sky is finally open, the rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. So tie up the boat and take off your coat and take a look around. Everything's all right now, 'cause the sky is finally open, the rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. Let go of your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head.
Good morning. This morning, for our time of breathing in, I'm going to invite you into conversations at your table. And we're going to look at two pieces of art up on the screen. Both pieces of art are paintings about almsgiving. Almsgiving. The breathe in. No images. Okay. So I'm going to throw a lateral right now. And why don't we discuss with each other at the table, tell a story about giving. Giving, whether it is, so here's, you can pick. A favorite childhood book, children's storybook that was about giving, or a personal story in your life when somebody has given something to you, or a story that you've heard in the news about somebody giving something. Just take 2 or 3 minutes at the table with each other.
car, like things that we got from the one sale. And it was like this, like, Forenza sweater, like it was totally like a name brand. Like at that like age, I was just able to realize like how much my mom went into giving those things. She was really sort of a single mom, like how important those were to me. Yeah, what a good mom.
Okay, this is your 90-second warning to wrap up the conversation in just one more minute.
On our sisters and brothers, oh, isn't love all that we got? Don't we know everyone's got a father and mother? The day we know we're all the same together, we can make that change.
Look around, there are too many of us crying. Not enough love to go around. What a waste, another day, another good one dying. But I know that the world will change the day we know we're all the same.
Why can't we just get along? If loving one another's wrong, then how are we supposed to get close to each each other. We gotta make that change, yeah. What a waste it would be to deny somebody, oh, of a chance to be themselves. Oh, oh, what a waste it would be if we heard from nothing. But I know that the world can change the day we know we're all the same. Why can't we just get along? If loving one another's wrong, then how are we supposed to get close to each other? We gotta make that change, yeah. I know that we could break apart. We don't have to go that way. Not today. Why can't we just get along? If loving one another's wrong, then how are we supposed to get close to each other? We gotta make that change, yeah. That change, yeah. That change, yeah. Change, yeah. That change, yeah.
Will you all join your hearts with me in prayer? Holy God, we ask that you silence the noise around us, quiet the busyness, and dim all the activity that distracts us from you, so that we might focus in on your word for us today. And as we do, may the meditations that are on all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, for you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. So we have been in a sermon series during Lent, where we are looking at the pillars of faith, things that we do as Christians to help us find our faithfulness. And we've looked at prayer and fasting. And for the last week and this week, we are looking at almsgiving. I don't know if you know this or not, but almsgiving is actually one of the three main pillars of Buddhist faith as well. Now, I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to say Buddhism is not a monolith in the same way that Christianity is not a monolith, and that people practice Buddhism in a variety of ways, in the same way people practice Christianity in a variety of ways. So I'm speaking in very general terms. But almsgiving is one of the tenets of Buddhism. And in Buddhism, here is what almsgiving looks like. Monks often will start their mornings. And in some traditions, it is every single morning by going out and having what they call an alms round. I learned this when I lived in New York City. This happens every day in Flushing, Queens. But what happens in an alms round is the monks will go out carrying brass bowls, and they collect from the community, from the streets, every day, food. And in some Buddhist traditions, this is the way, the only way, that monks eat. They rely on the generosity of the community every morning to provide their meals. And part of this alms round is actually eating what they need and then redistributing the extra back to the communities in need. Like I said, not everybody does it every morning. Some people, the tradition is once a month, but for some communities, this is what happens every single morning at 7:30 a.m. And so this idea of almsgiving is a little bit different than how we traditionally have thought of almsgiving in the West. And I'm going to have you go back to slide 2. Thanks. Almsgiving in the West, our Christian view, we tend to think of it in one of two ways. Either we think of it as merit, the I'm going to be generous so that I earn my way into heaven, or we think of it as charity in the sense of I'm going to give or they're going to receive because they're in need. So it sets up this paradigm of, is it merit, is it charity? It's a little bit of both. One person is definitely the giver, and the other person is definitely the receiver. In the Buddhist tradition, they have a very different idea of what almsgiving is. And for the Buddhist monks that practice the alms round, they would describe almsgiving as a physical reminder of our interconnectedness. So it's not about who gives, it's not about who receives, it's not about who gets the merit, and it's not about who gets the charity. It really, truly is a reminder that we are all interconnected, that we are interconnected with the spiritual world, and that we are interconnected with each other. And if you look at the alms round tradition, it starts by reminding us of our connectedness to the spiritual world, which is represented by the monks, and then to the people around us. And so I like this description of almsgiving. I mean, it is a little bit of a, 180 for me, but thinking about almsgiving as this reminder to be interconnected, I would love for us to now turn to our scripture and for us to think about this story of Zacchaeus, which is a story about almsgiving, through the lens of the Buddhist definition, a reminder of interconnectedness. So I don't know if you are familiar with the story of Zacchaeus. Some of us over in the corner were singing the children's song this morning because we're that familiar with it. Zacchaeus was a wee little man. The wee little man was he. But here is the essence of the story of Zacchaeus. We often read it on Palm Sunday because the Zacchaeus story happens right before Jesus is making his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And so it's kind of festive. It's kind of parade-like. He is surrounded by throngs of people. He is on his way into, like Christian said, into the procession into Jerusalem. And he's stops. And he looks up, and Zacchaeus, who is kind of a shifty guy, who is a tax collector, and tax collectors, were known for kind of defrauding people and not being high moral people at that time. Zacchaeus is up in a tree because he was a short person, and so he went up to get a better view. And Jesus says to him, Zacchaeus, come down. I need to have dinner. I'm going to eat at your house tonight. Zacchaeus comes down. As the story goes, his heart is so transformed by being welcomed and showing hospitality to Jesus that he changes his heart and he says to Jesus, I'm going to give away half of all that I have. His heart turns to generosity, and he is changed. Now, if we look at that story through the lens of this definition of almsgiving as a reminder of our interconnectedness, first, let's look at Jesus. Jesus, who is, the life of the parade, who's the center of the attention. But he knows, right? He needs to eat. And so very much in the way that the Buddhist monks did, he reaches out to the crowd and he calls on Zacchaeus. And he says very simply, Zacchaeus, will you feed me? It is a moment where we are reminded of our interconnectedness. And then Zacchaeus invites Jesus into his home. He serves him a meal. His heart is transformed. And he responds as well with a reminder of the interconnectedness that we have with humanity. And he responds by saying, I am going to give from what I have been given. And so we see this interplay happening. Jesus feels interconnected to Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus feels interconnected with the world. It is not as simple as merit and charity. It's not as simple as the giver and the receiver. It is a reminder, really, truly, that we are called to be connected to each other in a way where we support, sustain, and help one another. I wonder where you find yourself in the story today. Maybe, like Jesus, you are on top of your game. You are the center of attention. You are the life of the party. You are, people think, the Messiah. Maybe that's where you're at in your job or your family or your friend network. If that's the case, then let this story be a reminder to be interconnected with those who want to get to know you, who want to find a different way. They may be climbing trees to see you. Maybe this morning you feel a little bit like Zacchaeus. You feel judged. You feel like maybe some of your actions haven't been all that ethical. Maybe you find yourself wondering about how you could be part of the crowd. If that's the case, let this morning's story be a reminder that God is calling you out, asking to get to know you, wanting your own hospitality. Maybe in this story, you find yourself aligning with the religious authority at the time. And you find yourself judging Jesus for his actions, judging others for not being the kind of Christian that you expect them to be. If that is the case, then let this story remind you that our interconnectedness calls us to give and to serve in a way that puts judgment to the side. And maybe, just maybe this morning, you feel like part of the crowd, part of the people who feel like they're faithfully following Jesus, but that they get to judge Zacchaeus because Zacchaeus hasn't done it the way they think is right. If that is the case, then let this story be a reminder that we are all interdependent on one another, that we serve and give, and that no one is on the outside of that circle. Wherever you find yourself this morning, let this moment of almsgiving reflection remind you that we are all in need and we are all needed to keep the interconnection and the interconnectedness alive. May it be so. Amen.
Kathy, thank you. Wow, that gives you a lot to think about. And I actually have a pretty easy job today. I get to welcome kids in with palm fronds, and I get to welcome new members. And if you think about the message that we just heard, the sense that we belong one to another, the event of joining, of becoming fellow travelers is a space and time and place where that happens. So I'd like to invite up our new members today, Chris Erickson, Hugh and Anjali, and little Hugh, Cameron, if you guys would come on up here to the front with me. I don't know if you guys can clap yet. They haven't said the stuff, so hold on. No, but seriously, we, as a part of our coming together, they've completed I think it's a two-session class to learn about the history of our community, to learn a little bit about our polity and our deep values. And so the last step really was to sign the book and to repeat the covenant in front of everyone. I have a couple of mics here, and I want to offer these to you guys. Let's say it together.
We covenant with the Lord, and one with another, and we do bind ourselves in the presence of God to walk together in all God's ways, according as God is pleased to reveal God's self unto us in God's blessed word of truth.
Amen. And as a community of faith, it's not only that they're making promises to us, it's that we're making promises to them. And so there are promises of the people up here. That's not it. That's it. So I'd like to invite the congregation to recite. The people of Colonial Church welcome you with joy and affection into the fellowship of this church. And we do promise for our part to walk with you in the ways of the Lord and to live with you in agape love, sharing with you your burdens, praying for you in your need, and working with you for the bringing of the kingdom. To this end, we pledge our loyalty and our love. All right, I think we need to give a round to our new friends. And you guys have obviously been coming and being present here in the community for some time. I know for you, certainly, Chris, it's been a while. And for Hugh and Anjali, you've been here for several weeks. But I do want to invite folks after the service, please be sure to come up and greet our friends. We also, I think, have a video, I believe. Is that correct? I think that may have supposed to have been first, and I kind of screwed. I talk about easy job, right? So here we go.
I'm Judy Othout, and I'm joining Colonial Church because I feel like I'm coming home after having been away for 22 years. I retired from working at Colonial Church in 1999, but I returned to Minnesota, and I'm coming back to Colonial Church as a member this time. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm Noel Pittman. I've been coming to Colonial for a long time and finally decided that I should become a member. I feel very comfortable here.
Hi, I'm Chris Erickson. You'll also see my kids, Samuel, Michael, and Johanna, around the church. We've been regular attenders for a couple of years now, but looking forward to joining. The kids are particularly fond of the youth group and just enjoying Colonial as a place to ask questions and be in community.
Hi, my name is Hugh Cameron. This is my wife Anjali Cameron and our son Hugh Rama. We are super excited to be joining Edina Meeting House. We think it'll be a perfect church home for our family. It's been such a welcoming community and it's such a great fit for us.
Well, again, let's give our friends a welcome. Thank you so much. I'll turn it over to my friends in the band.
Last song together, should you feel the desire to get up and dance or move in any way, we invite you to do so. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hell. They don't have so very long before their judgment day. Won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out. They do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Change it, yeah, it's you and me. We gotta change it, yeah, you and me. We gotta change it, yeah, you and me. We gotta change it, yeah, you and me.
You. Okay, I think I'm ready now. All right. Okay. Thanks, Al.
I got you.
Like I said, that was groovy.
Thank you.
That was groovy. That was good. I enjoyed that. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope that you were blessed, that you felt God's Spirit speaking through Kathy's message, through the music we've sung, the time that we've had, the welcoming of new members. Got a couple of announcements. First, just want to remind you today, 11 a.m., we have a special event. It's called We Sing Spirituals. It's a community event. There is, I think, a handout that we've had the last couple of weeks. Basically, what we're going to do is get together for about 45 minutes with what I have not had a chance to meet the person yet, but apparently he's a phenomenal baritone professor at St. Olaf, and he's going to lead us through singing some of the classic African-American spirituals together. So if you have time and if you love to sing, whether you can sing good or not, that's not the question. If you like to sing, so if you're singing in your car, you're singing in the shower, you should think about coming. As I mentioned before, today kicks off Holy Week. And there's going to be a lot of different events. We have a Monday, Thursday, a Good Friday service. There are two, though, that in particular I've been asked to highlight. One is I want to, particularly for young families, let you know about the Easter extravaganza happening on Holy Saturday. That's next Saturday, April 16th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So please be sure to show up here. I think there's going to be Easter egg hunts and all kinds of other fun games. I'm looking at Andrew, and he's giving me the thumbs up, so I think I'm correct on that. Easter service next week, next Sunday, there will be two services. There will be a traditional service offered at 9 a.m., and then we will have an alternative service at 11 a.m. So I want to invite you, want to have you, consider that, keep that on your calendar. And God's Garden will be happening at both services, so also for young families to know that. Last but not least, as you know, back in December, we voted to adopt a new name moving forward. And that is, I think I have an announcement. Is there an additional announcement? Oh, yes, we have a sunrise service. What time is that? Yeah, very early. I believe it's 7 a.m. 6:30, yes, thank you so very much. Roslyn Park. All right, thank you. Thanks, Mark. Where was I? Oh, yes. Name change. So the first really significant light switch to us entering into, living into this new name that the community has embraced, Meeting House Church, that is going to start or happen on April 24th, which is annual meeting. So I really want to encourage you to be here. You're going to hear from the ministers. You're going to see some of what that will look like in terms of our presence, graphics and logos and those kinds of things. And we're going to get a chance to kick off and I hope cast some of the vision of what we believe that God seems to be calling us towards as a community. So we hope that you will be there with us in about 2 weeks. That's what the annual meeting is. All right, without further ado, I think that is it. Brothers and sisters, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. And as you do, the band is going to play you out.